All right, we're moving on to the second part of 4.6. This is 4.6b. What you're going to be able to do today is evaluate function notation, and you are going to be able to identify functions using what's called a vertical line test, which is actually awesome. It's super easy. Functions are like equations. I gave you IXL assignments like this. Remember, f of x equals 3 plus x, and then you have to evaluate. This is the same thing. Y equals 3x plus 2 means the same thing as f of x. That means the function of x equals 3x plus 2. So f of x means function. The function of x. You're talking about a function machine. So when x goes in, the function of x does something to it. In this situation, it would go 3 times x plus 2, and then out comes your y. Your y became a function of x. So function notation, f of x just means y. It just means y. It's the same thing. They just try to make it look confusing. As 8th graders, this is how you're going to see it. Y is a function of x. You do something to x and then you get your y. So, this first example, f of x equals 3x minus 2. And I want to know what is f of 2. F of 2 just means what is the function of 2? What happens when I put 2 in? So all you do is put 2 in where the x is. That's all you do. So put that arrow on your notes so you can see what I did. So I say the function at 2, f of 2, the function at 2, is just 3 times 2 minus 2. 6 minus 2, 4. So my function at 2 is 4. That means when I put 2 into my function machine, 4 comes out. The next one, f of x equals negative 2x minus 4. That just means my function rule. And you don't even have to do this first part that I did, the f of 2 equals. A lot of times I just plug right into evaluating. So I just say negative 2 times 0 minus 4. What happened is I put my 0 where the x is. F of 0, that means the function at 0. So no longer is the function at x, it's at 0. So this would be 0 minus 4, negative 4. Proper math etiquette would say, my function at 0 is negative 4. Same thing though. It equals negative 4. Okay, next. My function f of x equals a negative x. What is f of negative 5? That means put negative 5, where the x is. And it really is putting negative 5 where each x is. But all I care about is the actual equation part. So I would say that's going to be a negative, because that's there, and x is negative 5. What's negative 5? Positive 5. So proper math etiquette, I would say my function at negative 5 is 5. Next one, function of x equals x squared. What is my function at 9, f of 9? Well, I just put the 9 in where the x is. It would be 9 squared. What's 9 squared? 81. That's MCA will have this as the value. Sometimes your book or work that I give you, I'll say the function at 9 is 81. Remember, f of x is the same as y. Y equals 81. Or you're just figuring it all out. What we're doing is simplifying, evaluating. We're going to apply that function notation now to find the range of a function given the domain. So if I'm given the domain, I'm going to now find the range. What you do, this is the how. How do you do it? You plug each domain in and write down the y value. So, I have 3 x's, right? Domain is x's. Do you agree with me? Is domain the x? Okay, so here's my function. F of x is 2x plus 3. Well, here's all my x's. I want to find my y's. So I need to find my ranges. How do I do that? Plug in each domain and write down the y. So I'm going to say f of 0 is 2 times 0 plus 3. 0 plus 3, 3. 3 is a y. Look, 3 is a y. 3 is now part of my range. Okay, that's me plugging the x in. Now I got to plug, I did that one, now I got to plug the other one. My function at 1. I got to evaluate at 1. Write this down. My function at 1 is going to be 2 times 1 plus 3. 2 plus 3, 5. That's my y. That goes there. I have one more to go. Now I have to plug 2 in. My function at 2 is going to be 2 times 2 plus 3. 4 plus 3, 7. There's my range. I found my range given my domain, which means I found my y's given my x's. Got this? Okay, so what I did is plugged each one in, and then I wrote down the y I got. Okay, the next one. My function of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1 for the 3 domains. I need to find my range. So what I usually do is write range and put my brackets because I need to figure out what they are. You could easily do it mentally in your head. Plug the negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be 2. 2 plus 1, 3. Plug it in your head. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1, 1. But that's a strategy. You can do that, and I'm okay with that, but some kids are going to not know how to get to that point. So again, you can go the long way. I'd say my function at negative 1 is going to be negative 2 times negative 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3. My function at 0, plugging 0 in. Negative 2 times 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1, 1. So notice what I'm doing. And now I'm going to do my function at 1. So my function at 1 is going to be negative 2 times 1 plus 1. Negative 2 plus 1, negative 1. And what happened there? That one right there. All right, so we can identify functions. Remember, function means that for every x, there's one y. Every x has one y. And knowing that, that's the basic foundation, I can apply what's called the vertical line test to any graph and identify if a vertical line goes through the graph more than one time, it's not a function. That means there's two y's. So if a straight line goes through the graph more than once, it is not a function, because that means it has two y's. And remember that a function says for every x there's one y. So x should not have two different y values. And how I do this, now I just have this ruler here, but I usually use my fingers when I'm given a computer screen or something, or even I would use my pencil on your homework for today. You can use your pencil too, and you just take your pencil. I want to make sure that this goes, I have to flip this to the front, because notice what it does. Hey. Notice what it does, it goes behind it, so I have to tell the computer that this is the most important. Okay, so given this, if I go along my graph, my line, notice it's only crossing the graph one time. It's only crossing the graph at that one point. So I would say because it only crosses one time, this is a function. That's a function because a straight line only goes through the graph once, all the time. Okay, this line, once, 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 once. It always crosses once. Function or not a function? Huh? Function or not? It only goes through one point at a time. Not a function means that it goes through more than once. It's aligned with that. For every x, there's one y. If it goes through twice, that means one x has two y's, and that can't happen. Okay? Given this, oh, how many times did I go through the line? Twice. That's not a function. Because what it's saying here, when my point is, like, let's say right here, this line, x is -3, it means when x is -3, I'm going to get this value and this value. That would tell me the function's broken. It can't happen. Okay? And then you're going to be given scattered points. Same thing with scattered points. You just go along. I'm going through one point at a time. I'm going through one point at a time there, right? One point at a time there. How many points there? 2. So that tells me it's not a function. Not a function. So I see confusion going on here. I feel like you are feeling a little confused. So let's just make a little T-chart. And I want you to say function in just a little line, because it's going to be one rule. Function and not a function. If it's a function, the vertical line goes through one time. Function goes through one. Can I just say one? Does that seem incomplete? Goes through one at a time, one point at a time. Goes through once. How about once? That just means that goes through every point once. And not goes through more than one. So if it's not, it goes more than one. So that's all you have to do. If you get confused because you have like 3 on your homework saying use a vertical line test, you don't have to do actual math here. That's the nice part. All you do is just take a vertical line, finger, pencil, whatever you want, and see does it go through at one time or more than one time. Let's just review. Here, I went through one time always. One time means function. Here, again, it looks like I went through 2. That's my bad. Okay, that's my drawing bad. But it's really going through one time. Down here, you can already tell it's going through 2 times. 2 times means not a function. A collection of points called a scatter plot. You just go along each point, make sure that there's only one per x value. So 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. Since it goes through twice, it's not a function. So once, function, twice.